Welcome in, Cowboys Nation, to another episode of Doc Talk with Dr. Boothby of Orthopedic and Sports Medicine Institute in Fort Worth, Texas. How goes it, Doc?
Hey, real good, man. It's a little chilly this morning. We got a little bit of freezing rain out there, and I wish I had some better Cowboys news to talk about. But hey, we'll take it, and just love being with you guys and being on the show. It's always
Yeah,
a lot of fun.
we were just talking behind the scenes here that we wish we were here on better circumstances preparing for the Super Bowl, but that is not the case because the Cowboys lost to the San Francisco 49ers a few weeks ago. And the biggest loss in that game was Tony Pollard going down early when the Cowboys had a chance to go and take the lead. He ended up twisting his leg on a tackle, and it came out that he had a severe high ankle sprain. I think that's something to point out there. Severe high ankle sprain and a fractured fibula. And I want to kind of dive in on this injury, Doc. And I usually ask you all the time, what is the timetable for that specific injury? But here's the thing. There's two injuries in one.
Right,
So
right.
how would you look at that?
Yeah, so I mean, you make a great point. There's basically two injuries at the same time. One is to a bony structure in the ankle, the fibula, and one is to a ligamentous structure that is the high ankle sprain. There's three, and actually, I brought a model today just to kind of help us out with this because I think that will really help us. This is just a foot and ankle model, kind of the bony parts of our foot and ankle. And this outside bone here is the fibula. So if you kind of run your hand around the bony part of your ankle on the outside, that's the distal fibula, and that's the bone that was broken. Now, at the time of his injury, there was enough energy going through the twisting motion of the ankle joint that not only did it break this bone, but then between the tibia and the fibula, there are these three strong ligaments in this area called the syndesmosis. And those are the ligaments that are involved in the high ankle sprain. So not only did this bone break, but the syndesmosis, or the three ligaments between those bones, were separated as well. And basically, that's why there's a bony component to this as well as a soft tissue component to this.
Interesting. So if he didn't break just a bone, he didn't, severely sprain his ankle, does this extend his timetable if it was just one or the other?
Not as much as you might think. So
Yeah.
that's the good news here is basically, with the surgery that he had, you can fix both of these at the same time. And so basically the surgery is made to support the bony structure that was broken in two. And typically we'll use a construct where there's a plate and screws that go into the bone that literally hold it back together and hold it in the right spot so that then the bone can heal back with bone and be 100% strong. At the same time, we use what's called a tightrope,
Yeah.
and the tightrope is interesting. And in the old days, we used to have to actually use screws to go across these two bones. So between the fibula and the tibia, we would put screws across it that were permanent and fixed. And basically that would support this syndesmotic area while those ligaments healed together. Because if you don't fix that, the syndesmosis spreads out and it doesn't heal right because it's in the wrong position. The problem with those screws is that over time, when you're, using your ankle and running and twisting and turning, those screws would break. And so then you'd have to go in and kind of take them out, or you'd have to plan a second surgery to take the screws out before they broke. Nowadays, we don't use that technique really anymore. We use a really strong suture, the tightrope, that goes between this area. And so you'll get kind of a little a button on the outside of the fibula and a button on the medial side of the tibia. And it basically just squeezes those bones together and holds them in place while the ligament heals. The neat part about the tightrope is it has some give to it. It has some flexibility. So once it heals and the ligament is back to normal, that structure will continue to support and give with the athlete as they're being explosive, twisting, turning, and we don't see them breaking anymore. So we don't have to have a second surgery. Yay, number one. And number two, we're not having broken screws in there or a broken implant in there, number two. So it's really, improved how we fix these sort of injuries.
Yeah, when I heard that tightrope surgery, I'm like, I can't wait to ask Doc about this because I've never heard of that. And you're
Sure.
basically saying this is kind of common now. This is the new wave of how to fix these type of injuries, not the screws anymore.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And that's been this way for the last, 10 years or so. But it's really changed how we're able to fix this sort of fracture pattern, and we're able to stabilize the syndesmosis or the high ankle injury so much better that we're able to be a little more active with it a little bit quicker. So,
Okay.
this is going to be a 3 or 4 month deal while the bone heals, and then the syndesmosis heals, and then he starts to get back into being able to do kind of athletic type stuff. Unfortunately, we've got a little bit of a break in football right now with the Cowboys, so he should be good to go for sure by next year.
And I'm gonna throw a little curveball at you here.
Sure.
So this injury happened at a terrible time for Michael Gallup. We talk about Michael Gallup so much, that I'm thinking about Michael
Right.
Gallup. For Tony Pollard, because he's going to be a free agent at
Right.
the end of the season, which is now, but when the new season starts, which is in March, I believe 15th. So here's a curveball I want to ask you. When teams are dealing with guys who are injured, often they say, hey, we got to see x-rays, or we got to see, you got to meet the team doctor. If you're the team doctor of, let's say, the Chicago Bears, they want to
Yep.
see how he's doing. What are you looking for that would give him the thumbs up to say, hey, this guy is good to go to sign, or what would be troubling if you
Sure.
saw something?
Yeah, so by that point in time, there's going to be a fair amount of healing going on in this process, and so you're basically going to look at several different things to make sure that that athlete is going to be sound by the time training camp comes around next year or later this year. Basically, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to look at the athlete, and you're going to talk to them, and you're going to look at the incision, and you're going to make sure everything looks like it's healing normally on the outside. You're going to talk to the athlete about where they're having pain. Their pain level at that point should definitely be getting significantly better. There should be a progression in terms of the healing potential of the ankle, of the foot and ankle, and we should be seeing some really good progress there. So if any of that stuff comes back negatively, i.e., there's still pain there that shouldn't necessarily be there at that point, or there looks to be a problem with the incision, or there looks like there's a remnant of any sort of infection or anything like that, those are all really red flags that would, that I'd be looking at if I was the team physician for, say, the Bears. The second thing is imaging. And so you want to look at the x-ray. You want to look at potentially even a CT scan in terms of really looking at the bony structure and how the surgeon at the time of the procedure was able to how accurately they were able to put the bone back together, and how accurately the actual ankle joint looks. Because when that syndesmosis, when this area here between the bones gets spread out, this ankle joint down here can get spread out. And this is really where the rubber hits the road, because we don't really care what the bone looks like up here as long as the ankle joint itself looks good down here. So you can look at imaging studies and basically make sure that the alignment of these bones and the ankle specifically look really good. So it's a combination of just what we do with regular patients, right? Talking to the regular patient, making sure that they're kind of progressing along in the healing process how we would expect, and then looking at the imaging studies to make sure that what has happened and how it's healing is also kind of what we would expect.
Well, absolutely great stuff there and good insight, Doc. And if you are a regular patient, right, that twists their ankle, high ankle sprain, or have dealt with some fibula stuff, let them know where they can find you and contact you guys to get some help.
That's it, man. Come find us. We're happy to help. We're the Orthopedic and Sports Medicine Institute. We've got offices in Fort Worth as well as Decatur and Mansfield. You can reach us at our main number, which is 817-529-1900. And we're happy to be here to help Cowboys Nation.
Hey, thanks, Dr. Boothby, for joining us. And Cowboys Nation, we'll see you on another episode.
Take care, y'all.